Council will call this meeting to order. For the record, it is February 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We'll begin this regular city council meeting with roll call attendance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Cavanagh.
Here.
Councilwoman Little Roberts.
Here.
Councilman Taylor.
Here.
Councilman Overton.
Here.
Councilman Whitlock.
Here.
Councilwoman Strader.
Here.
Mayor Simison.
Here. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please rise and join us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up will be our community invocation, which tonight will be delivered by Mick Armstrong. If you'd all please join us in the community invocation or take this as a moment of silence and reflection.
Father, this is your community, and we thank you for the mayor and the council that are committed to the welfare of its community, the safety, and just the vibrancy of our community, and making it a great place for our family. And I'm thinking of the note that the mayor sent out this week about commitment to public safety, sufficient public resources, and just that we continue to maintain a place where we want to raise our families. Thank you for the departments that are all committed to providing good service to our community. And just pray for wisdom as they make choices, and that there would be a sense of fairness in their decisions. And I just thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mick. Okay. Next up is adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
we're going to pull item 14 off tonight's consent agenda. A couple items that need to be addressed. We'll bring that back on a future agenda. Mayor, with that one small change, I move we adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as amended. Discussion on the motion real quick. Looking at Mr. Neri, are we removing this to the items removed from the consent agenda to take a future action on, or removing it off the agenda altogether?
Mr. Mayor, just removing it off the agenda, and since it's only agenda notice required, we'll just put it on our future one when it's
Okay,
worked out.
thank you. Just want to make sure we were getting to the right place. So any further discussion on the motion? If not, in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And the agenda is approved as amended. Next up is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
notation of removing item 14, I move we approve the consent agenda as amended for the mayor to sign and the clerk to attest.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as amended. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And the consent agenda is agreed to. There were no items moved from the consent agenda. Ms. Clerk, anyone sign up under public forum?
Mr. Mayor, I neglected to check the back of the room, but there were no signups last I looked.
Okay. We'll give it just a few quick seconds, but while he does that, I'm sure Carly may want to start working her way up. If she's going to be doing a presentation, or introduction of the Light My Fire. Okay. So we will move on to item 12. There was no one signed up under public forum for the Light My Fire check presentation. I'll invite Carly or anyone else who would like to come forward and do the introduction of the Light My Fire team. You can do it this way for an initial conversation, and then we'll just, yeah.
So we're pleased to have Light My Fire here tonight, an organization that donates funds to local fire departments.
Get on the mic, Carly.
We're pleased to have Light My Fire here this evening, a local organization that donates funds to fire departments in the Treasure Valley for burnout fund, benevolent fund, as well as fire and life safety education projects. So without further ado, Light My Fire.
Okay, thank you.
We are so excited to be here tonight. This is one of the great things that we get to do. We work together as a team to raise funds for the mission of fire safety prevention and the burnout funds. And there's some new faces in the room here, so I'm just going to take you down the road of history of Light My Fire. So over 30 years ago, a fire was being fought in a local home, resulting in a devastating loss for the family. Nearly everything they owned was consumed and lost by smoke and flame. Imagine the helplessness of everyone out there that was witnessing what was going on. After the fire was out, community members standing nearby witnessed firefighters taking money out of their back pockets and wallets and giving it to the family. When asked why are you doing that, those standing by learned that there was no immediate mechanism to help families displaced by fire. Little kids without shoes, people in their bathrobes or not. And firefighters simply could not bear mopping up the fire scene and leave them in their dark reality of what was happening with their homes. This was the birthing place of Light My Fire. Standing right here, it's Bob Ricketts, who's been here since the very beginning. We'll be doing our 31 years this year. It takes a hardworking, dedicated team to raise these funds. And I want to introduce you, Sarah Morris, Ricketts and Associates, Pam Orr. Woo, everybody knows and loves Pam. She doesn't even work for the fire department anymore, but she's still here, standing strong, helping with fire prevention and raising the donations. This is a labor of love where competitors in the insurance industry and restoration companies lay their lances down because they're competitors to accomplish this mission. Fire safety, education, and prevention is another important piece of our mission. Meridian Fire has done a tremendous job over the years, building and creating new programs. Looking at the catastrophe of those fires in California, it helps us to recognize how important these programs are to save lives and property. During Light My Fire's 30-year time span, over $780,000 has been donated. The net proceeds of our 2024 gala directly supports Meridian and Boise Fire, the Idaho First Responders Wellness Coalition, and our vision has also expanded with a grant program where we're helping other Idaho fire departments within the state of Idaho with their fire prevention and education programs. This also this year includes a donation to the Renaissance Fire Cadet Program that it's educating our future firefighters, which is so important. We got to raise them up. We got to teach them. So for the Meridian Fire Department, prevention and education, Pam.
So we have $10,000 for the education department. So congratulations, Carly.
And there is a matching fund with the MOU that we have with the city. And so that doubles to $20,000. And we're looking forward to working with Carly to help us on our committee level and to walk forward with us to help raise these funds. And then the benevolent fund.
Yeah, the Meridian Benevolent Fund, $13,000. And so Josh Wheeler. Thank you, guys. And we do have members of the Benevolent Fund that work with us as well. So we really appreciate their efforts. And then for the Idaho First Responder Collaborative, $2,000. Chris Burkirk is our member that also helps us as well. And every year he brings something in and we do a live donation for that. So thank you.
Oh, and we want to invite you to come and attend, of course. I know, Mayor, you've been there in the past, and we'd love for you to show up again this year. And we want you to put on your hot Havana dance pants.
And I just looked because I was surprised it wasn't on my calendar, but February 21st, I actually am in town, which is awesome and not
Cool.
occupied. So I will be there.
Excellent. We look forward to that. And the rest of you are invited to come as well, to join in with us to help people right here in our community.
On behalf of the city, I just want to first, can we have a round of applause for them and all the hard work they do? I know it's not, my part's pretty easy to say we can't do it without you, but you see the support of the fire department here. They can't do this without you. And our residents are the ones that benefit. Those in need are the ones who benefit. And so we truly appreciate all the hard work and effort that you all do to support through this event and many other things you do to bring funds that go to help during the time when it's right. So just thank you on behalf of myself and any other members of the council who are interested in saying any words.
Mr. Mayor, it's a great event. It's
All right.
a fun event and nothing better than going to a great event for a great cause. So appreciate you guys being great advocates and volunteers.
Councilman Whitlock.
Mayor, let me just thank everybody. Let's do this again next week. I've known Bob for a number of years and tonight, as he talked about going back 31 years, there's a real deep commitment to this community, to the work that our first responders or firefighters or police do. And it's just great to see this kind of community support. So you're welcome anytime, but we'll see you next year for sure. We'll see you at the gala.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you want to come down for a photo? Is that okay?
I'm happy to join. Yeah.
Yes. It's so good. Pam. Yes, you are welcome. Pam, we need somebody to take the photos. So Pam will be there. Thank you. Pam.
Got it. Here we go.
I love it.
Good to see you. Really great to see you. Appreciate you.
Got him in my car, actually. Okay, with that, we will move on to item 21, which is the Public Works Fiscal Year 2025 Fee Schedule Update. Thank you, Lorelei, for being here this evening.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll try to continue the good news with some fee decreases. There are a few increases, but so this is part of our normal annual fee update. So we started the process with 178 Public Works fees, and I really challenged the team this year to consolidate, cut, reduce, simplify if possible, and they definitely rose to that challenge. We were able to cut 89 fees, which are about 50% of that list. These were for miscellaneous parts all the way down to nuts, bolts, screws to put together fire hydrants. And every single year we would go out and get 3 quotes on every single one of those parts to put that list together. Instead of that, now if one of those things are damaged, we just group it together into a fire hydrant repair and just get a direct quote and pass that quote along to the responsible party. So really cut a considerable amount of annual ongoing staff time. We were also able to decrease 15 fees. Those are directly related to pass-through costs. So if the vendor costs went down, we decreased that fee. We also reevaluated some staffing time and made sure that our hours were in alignment. And if the time went down, we reduced those fees. 44 of our fees are increasing. Again, these are directly related to pass-through costs. So the cost of meters have increased from the vendor. Those costs go just directly to the purchaser of the meter. A couple of them have increased due to our internal labor rates and, like I said, doing better hour studies to truly reflect the time spent on the tasks. So tonight is just to inform you of these, to ask if you have any questions, and then our next step is we do take them to public hearing and noticing, and we'll pass those through in the next couple of months through the normal process. Just quick note, these don't include our regular water and sewer rates. We do those as a separate process in midsummer since those impact a lot of people. We kind of want them on their own, evaluated and noticed to people. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Lorelei. Council, any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Taylor.
Not so much a question as a comment. Lorelei and I had a chance to review this and kind of talk about it. I just want to commend her and her staff and the department for their diligent self-reflection and looking into how we can, simplify things, minimize things, decrease costs. Especially, I like decreasing the workload on staff as much as you can. So I think it's a good example to the rest of the city in ways in which we can look at that. I think the end result is hopefully elevated service, easier workload on the staff, and a better product from the city. So I just want to commend you, Lorelei, and your staff on that.
All right. Thank you, Lorelei. Look forward to seeing them come back. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our action items this evening. Next up is item 22, a public hearing continued from January 2021 for Glen Point subdivision H 2024-0060. Continue this public hearing with staff comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to be fairly brief tonight. My voice isn't holding on too far tonight, so the only application on this is a preliminary plat. This site consists of 8.8 acres of land. It's zoned R15 and CC and is located at 1515 West Eustick Road at the southeast corner of North Linder Road and West Eustick Road. This property was annexed back in 2022 with a development agreement, and approval was granted at that time for a preliminary plat and a conditional use permit for a multifamily residential development, both of which have since expired. The comprehensive plan future land use map designation is mixed use community. A new preliminary plat is proposed consisting of 41 building lots and 7 common lots on 8.8 acres of land in the R15 and CC zoning districts. The proposed plat generally complies with the previous plat included in the development agreement as required. Access is proposed via Linder Road and Eustick Road, arterial streets abutting the site, and via the extension of existing local stub streets at the east and south boundaries. Private streets are also proposed internally. A minimum of 15% qualified open space is required to be provided. The applicant is proposing at 19.07%, which exceeds UDC standards. Qualified site amenities are also proposed, exceeding UDC standards. Future development is required to comply with the concept building elevations and site plan included in the development agreement. A final design of all single-family residential attached and townhome structures, as well as the commercial and multifamily residential structures, are required to comply with design standards in the Architectural Standards Manual. A conditional use permit is required for the multifamily development. The commission recommended approval of this application to City Council. Ben Semple, the applicant for Rodney Evans and Partners, testified in favor. No one testified in opposition. Joy Ferlipa, excuse me if I mispronounced that, commented on the application. Written testimony was received from Ben Semple, the applicant, in agreement with the staff report conditions. The key issues were concerned with traffic stacking in front of the driveway access via Eustick Road, preventing vehicles from exiting the site. A request for a painted square is placed in that area to prevent stacking in that area to enable access out of the site. There were no real items of discussion by the commission. The commission at staff's request did change. They did include a condition requiring an ingress-egress easement to be depicted on the plat across lots 2 and 3, block 1, granting access to all lots in the subdivision. There are no outstanding issues for council tonight, and there has been no written testimony since the commission hearing. Staff will stand for any questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions for staff? Okay, would the applicant like to come forward?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Ben Semple with Rodney Evans and Partners, 1450 West Bannock Street, Boise, Idaho, 83702. First, I want to thank Sonia for her presentation and the information provided. If this project looks familiar to you, it's because it is. You approved it once already about 1.5 years ago, both preliminary and final plat and a bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, there was some confusion about the timing of pre-plat approval and final plat approval. So the approvals fell out of well, fell out of approval, so we're back. What it did is it gave us a little bit of an opportunity to go and revisit some of this. Well, first of all, we are in agreement with the conditions in the staff report, all agency comments, and the conditions of approval. But we did go back, and one of the main things we did was we talked with the pathway coordinator or the pathways manager for the city, and we realigned the multi-use pedestrian pathway that runs along the Creason Lateral. It just makes it a little cleaner. There's not a hard right hand and then a left hand turn. It also allowed us to put an amenitized plaza down in that space as well. That's kind of offline from the main, bike and pedestrian traffic. That also serves as kind of the entry point to an enlarged dog park. That'll be a minimum of 5,000 square feet on the site, fully fenced, have like a dog wash station and stuff with it too. Regarding the condition or the comment about the striping on U-Stick, my understanding, it was the subdivision to the east of us. One of the, I think it was their HOA president actually had said that at their exit point onto U-Stick, which is full access, there's some issues with traffic stacking on U-Stick preventing that. We're absolutely in support of that, getting those lane stripes all the way from one side to the other to prevent stacking there. I think that we would join in that with that HOA in conversations with ACHD to get them to go out and do it. Our only connection to U-Stick directly is a right in, right out only. And we will be installing some candles out in the center lane to prevent the left turn movement out of that. Really all in all, we're looking forward to the project moving forward now. So I would stand for additional questions you might have.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Cavanagh.
and I recognize this is just a plat that's before us, but help me understand, again, we're in the mixed use area. Sort of embrace that. There's lots of different types of uses. And I'm just curious, is that something the applicant was looking to do? Is it something encouragement by staff trying to make sure that you're meeting the mixed use standards? I commend you and your creativity for trying to get a handful of uses in a smaller set of dirt. Just kind of help me understand what drove some of the decisions that you and the applicant or you and your employer made.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Cavanagh, I mean, really the comprehensive plan and the staff with the city has really helped drive the final rendition of this. But ultimately my client had come with the understanding that they needed to do some sort of mixed use here. They intend to build the multifamily themselves and then hold that as an investment property. That multifamily is going to be on the higher end. They have garages for the units, stuff like that. And then they just wanted to develop a couple pads there at the corner for some additional community, commercial retail. We have one of the pads is set up to be, potentially a little restaurant or cafe. Another one, could be office. It could be a multi-tenant building. One thing we're trying to avoid there, and I don't believe it's even allowed in code or our DA, is a drive-through food establishment. So this would be something that's more walkable, and it's not big enough to be a big destination, obviously. That answers your question.
I appreciate the help. I understand.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Taylor.
And thank you. I live pretty close to this. I drive by this quite a bit. And even kind of to answer Councilman Kavanagh's question too, right across the road from U-Stick, you have what looks to be will be some very similar existing commercial multi-use tenant, like nail salon, accountant, there's a different medical spaces in there. So, but then on the back side of the property is a bunch of residential. So I actually see it as a pretty nice transition from what you see on the road. Across the road from Linder, we have a substation, and I think Ada County Paramedics is right there. So I actually think when looking at it, I thought it was kind of a nice sort of the frontage on the roads and then the residential in the back that should integrate pretty well some of the stuff that's existing.
Cool. We have these districts.
There you go.
Neighborhood representation. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Council, any additional questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Clerk, we have everyone sign up on this one?
Mr. Mayor, David and Marie Childers.
No comments. If there's Is there anybody else present or online who would like to provide testimony on this item? If you're online, you can use your raise your hand feature. Seeing no one coming forward or raising their hand online, would the applicant like to make any final comments to close? Applicant waives final comments. Council, your direction.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Taylor.
I'd move that we close the public hearing on file H-2024-0060.
Second.
I have a motion second to close the public hearing. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the public hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Taylor.
kind of already shared some of my thoughts, but it's kind of a nice, that corner's been sitting there for a while. I've always been wondering what are they going to do, but I actually really like this. I think this is a really good use, a good way to integrate some more than just residential uses on that corner. I always assumed it was going to be some apartments or something, but I think the plan works well. Interestingly, when they were building the just to the north of it where there's some shells for business opportunities, I was curious to see if that would even fill up, but it filled up really rather quickly. And there's actually quite a few uses in there that it's kind of interesting. So there's clearly a need in this part of Meridian for some of these types of uses, restaurant, things like that. I actually think this was a good project. So unless anyone has any other comments, I'd be prepared to make a motion on the project. Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve file H-2024-0060.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve item 22. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, clerk call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Cavanagh. Little Roberts. Taylor.
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Whitlock.
All ayes, motion carry, and the item is agreed to. Thank you very much. Council, anything under future meeting topics, or do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Councilman Cavanagh.
We adjourn our meeting.
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Have a great night.